my friend, my buddy old pal, I'm coming back at you. You're coming back around at me. I presume. Yeah, I had to get on here because I had to talk. I had to just let some things fly, man. I had to let it be known. Dude, we are living in weird freaking times, man. And I'm sure you know that has never changed. Not at all. That we are effectively always living in changing times. Dude, I was listening to some really aged voice memos over here tonight, and holy hell, am I glad to not be living that life anymore, man. This was back when I was smoking a lot. This is back when I would not leave the house. This is back when... Holy dude, I was just a slimy troll. You know, I made this video, bro. Oh my god. I call it the agitated cooking extravaganza. You know, so what I did was I took you through me making dinner that day. And what I did was, I made pizza dough from scratch. I just had to let you know I made it from scratch, of course. Because this is another trend that I'll get into of my life. Just making stuff. But before I get into that, made this pizza dough by scratch, throw it in the oven, and this whole thing, I was irritated. I was hot and bothered the whole time, and it was so weird to listen to me be, sort of bothered by my life circumstances in that moment. But and then strangely enough, like I would poke through the veil, and you would just hear this sort of like. Okay, so if there's wet humor, there's dry humor, there's dark humor. Dude, this was like blue cheese humor, bro. This was like some fucking funky, smelly, like disgusting humor. This is like blue cheese humor. Moldy humor. Gross. Just a grossness about the whole thing. So in that instance, I was upset. I was clearly bothered. And then all while I'm feeling that, I'm still coming at like life from this point of view that you can, everything is grist for the mill. Everything, there is an avenue. I was still extracting wisdom from my experiences when I noticed. I was talking about the upsides to, when your pizza cools down, you get a different flavor profile, from the experience being different, or just the way that I was talking about, being sparingly, just talking about the methodology that went in behind that. It was fun. It was funny. It truly was artistry even though it was a harder listen. It was definitely a harder listen, and I think I'd attribute that to just it being me. You know, if that was just some other guy, then I probably would have turned it off or just had more of a negative opinion about it in a different kind of way. But holy hell, dude. There was a part of it where I just went full bore. Like, the pizza was... So I took you through the whole experience, right? I took you through the kneading of the dough, the spreading of the dough, the spreading of the tomato sauce, the grating of the cheese, the seasoning of the pizza, the putting it into the oven, the sort of waiting for that, this sort of little window where you talk about, hey, all good things, you gotta wait. And so there's that little sort of reactionary period, chemical changes happening. And then I take you through the process of eating the frickin' pizza. So here I am, eating 8 fucking slices of pizza on a voice recording. And I'm not chewing with my mouth closed. I'm like actively doing some crazy fucking mukbang ASMR. Like, I'm like... And not only am I smacking my lips and all that, I'm actively fucking moaning while I'm eating this pizza. Oh my god, this was the hardest thing in the whole world to listen to. Oh my god. Literally, eat a slice of pizza. I'm not gonna do it. Fucking god damn. And so for like 5 minutes, I'm like, for 5 fucking minutes, dude. 5 minutes of just moaning Myrtle on this goddamn pizza. Holy Jesus Christ. Why did you do this? This was a hard listen. This was a hard fucking listen. But I did listen to it. I listened to it all the way. Because why not? Because I did think to myself in that moment of things that... I was very, like, aware of some higher ordinance kind of thinking in that moment of things. Where I was no longer operating under the sort of regulatory systems that's like, yes, I'm here and I want to get to there. I am here, I'm feeling this, just having the same sort of desire when it comes to feeling things. Generally, I want to feel good. And so I'm going to do things to have a good impact, just like all the sort of things that make up our lives so we can generate a feeling of just like mild happiness or peace or whatever. It was in this moment that I was relinquished from that sort of, the trappings of that thought. That, everything in the world is a kind of feeling. And so, when I was no longer in the space with the kind of energy of a repulsion, I'm going to push away all of these sorts of other feelings. That's when I got to really take in what the fuck this piece of art was. Because this was an audio piece of art. The art was in the medium of audio. And so I wanted to feel all of the effects. And I guess that was the part that was interesting to me, because in that moment I was like, well, okay, so if I don't have an aversion to feeling cringe or feeling uncomfortable or what the fuck? If I didn't have a sort of pushing away from that, and instead it was just like a kind of like honing in, focusing in, looking into, kind of like really looking into and examining the sort of feeling that it was. Then I'd have to say, in that moment of things, I definitely felt a ton of gratitude and a sense of freedom as well. Because in that moment it occurred to me that I didn't need to necessarily create one kind of thing, to have one kind of impact that that everything, I don't even know. It was kind of like, just like everything has its time, everything has its place. Everything is, nutritionally valuable. At some point along the journey of the large intestine, as whatever the thing is goes around the sort of nutritional extraction system, that everything at one point or another has its little moment to shine on you, even if it is wildly provocative and uncomfortable. Dude, I made some Borat level shit right there, dude. I made some provocative content right there. That's the kind of content that pulls out the ugliness in people. That is. Oh my god, what a creation. What a fucking creation that one was. All right, next on the list is dude, I have the craziest kind of hypochondriacness to me. Hypochondriism, the sort of paranoia about shit. And this is, dude, let's talk about it, man. Let's get into it. Why do I feel the need to all of a sudden have a fucking French press coffee machine? I've just picked up coffee again, more avidly in the last week or so, because I've quit nicotine, and I've effectively let go of pre-workout. That was, I just pick up these little tidbits of paranoia as I go about the digital. Yeah, you think energy drinks are good for your kidneys? And then I'm thinking, oh shit. Well, if I had to guess, I'd probably say no. But do I know for sure? Not really. Fuck. Well, looks like I gotta clear that shit out. Oh, you think your coffee machine's great? Guess what? That thing's made of plastic. You think scalding hot, just the hottest fucking water before boiling is good for plastic? And then you just, that's all just going into your coffee. Have you ever seen that little sheen of that little glimmer of some kind of just like a little film of shine over your coffee as it's there. What do you think that is? Is that coffee chemicals? Is that whatever natural stuff is in coffee? Or do you think that that's something else? And then I'm thinking to myself, fuck, dude. Fuck, that's another thing, right? God damn it. I can't have anything nice in this goddamn world. For fuck's sake. There's always something, Lord. Like, I'll tell you what. It's like the big thing nowadays is microplastics. Oh, you don't want your microplastics. All these fucking microplastics. How convenient is it that all these things that are bad for us, we don't get to even see, right? Where is it? What is it? It's smaller than you can even process. It's smaller than what your eyes can even fucking process, okay? Your eyes can't even pick this up, right? It's hard. It's barely in our dimension. You can't witness this. Just barely in our dimension. Planck units, atoms, molecules, okay? Amoebas. Can't see this shit. So of course, microplastics, you can't see them. But they're the biggest problem in the whole world. And I'm thinking to myself, like, where is the psyop coming from? Like, where's the goddamn attack from, right? It's who is getting my money now? Who is not getting my money now? Because right? It's like, oh my God, man. This is where I wish I was just fully retarded. Just fully, I wish, like, this is the time when I wish I didn't have a phone. I didn't have access to anybody that did have a phone. I would just live my life in the bliss of ignorance, right? As opposed to the discomfort of not trusting. Right, I'll tell you what. Because I do think about that. I think about what is the sort of relationship dichotomy dynamics between just not knowing something and then hearing something and just not trusting the information that has been bestowed upon you. And it's like, information is like, it's not just something that comes in anymore, right? Information is like waste product. Information is something that just accumulates in your life somewhere, and then you have to go and do stuff with that. Like, you have to put that into your system or get that away from your system, or like you're all of a sudden like you're responsible for this thing that was just brought to you by the universe. And it's just another vector point for you to start deciding stuff. It's another place where you are needed to be at the ready, be at the helm to start organizing your information into little compartments. And I think to myself, dude, when was microplastics ever important to me, dude? That's one of the biggest things for me. It's that there's so much of this stuff that it gets taken out of the realm of true direct experience of life, and now it gets turned into like numbers on a piece of paper or something like that. Like, how's your life feel? It feels pretty good. All right, you want to go check your microplastic numbers? How about your cholesterol? You want to go check your cholesterol? Sure, why not? Well, according to our piece of paper, according to our numbers, our statistics, your cholesterol and your microplastic levels are, yeah, you're pretty much going to die tomorrow, you motherfucker, based on our numbers, unless you do these things. And so many people just kind of go along with that, like, yeah, for sure, totally. And I'm no different, bro, I'm no different. When someone tells me that I can enhance my life just with the flick of the wrist, look at the flick of the wrist and my life is enhanced. My ears, I do a double take at the very least. You know, I look at them like that goddamn Shrek meme where he looks up and he's like, yes, the fucking charismatic smirk. Shrek smirk. Charismatic Shrek smolder. I whip out one of those. I'm not infallible to this. But this is where I go with it, okay? I'm truly like, I am Dawson pilled in this hoe. I don't know what color that is. This is beyond color. This is a broad spectrum. This is a broad spectrum prism. We got a whole conglomerate amalgamation of various colors and texturized immersory experiences for you and I. But yeah, I'll be damned if I take my direct experience out of things, or I get taken out of my direct experience of things, and then all of a sudden I'm like told that there's like some other things that I don't even have the processing to be aware of. And then all of a sudden it's like my whole everything gets hijacked because dude, it's like digestion to me, right? Like I have no say when it comes to digestion. You know, or growing my hair, right? I have no say when it comes to that. This is just something that's like, it's a byproduct. It's a you know, it's an automatic kind of thing. And sure, right? Sure. If that's to say that, okay, if I do these behaviors and I abstain from these behaviors, that means that my, you know, autonomous, automatic, you know, the thing that grows my nails, you know, repairs skin and grows my hair, that's gonna let's just say it's a miracle growth, and I get double the effectiveness of that. It's like, well, that's cool and all, right? You can measure it and it's like 2 times as fast, but like that doesn't have any sort of like true effect on my experience directly. Ugh, I hate it. I hate it because it calls forth my awareness. It calls forth it puts a red circle on the thing that I should be, you know, pointing my awareness at. And then it says to me, okay, now that you've looked at this thing that we've highlighted with a red circle, now you should be impressed by it. Like, I didn't care beforehand, and all of a sudden I'm like sold this sort of idea that I should be caring about whatever the sort of thing that somebody else wanted to highlight for my life, that I should be, this should be my mode of operation now. I should go and clap for them. I should go and praise the lifestyle of I never signed up for this. What the heck? And so that's been really fun, actually. You know, my life has actually been, here's like the fucking worst part of my life that's also been the most fun. I will be in the middle of doing some habit, some habitual fucking thing, right? Whether it be, whatever. I'll be in the middle of doing something habitual, and then in the middle of that, I'll recognize that it just doesn't fit anymore. There's something ancient about this that I've been doing kind of as a tradition, but it no longer fits the sort of what I feel out to be the most true, the most useful, helpful thing, the sort of, where tradition, where habitual things will get in the way of, like, whatever new growth is to occur. And this, and it's like a struggle between ancient ways and the New World Order. Like, I've got it down pat. I can eyeball the sort of dinner that I make down to a T, because I've done, I know, just muscle memory, just how, the sort of, the angle at which I pour the egg whites in here for the amount of time that I do. I just know that roughly this is going to make this portion, and then this portion later on is going to equate to how full I feel, the protein, and dude, I'm like pulling my own teeth out of my face in my life now. There's like, I'm taking a close examination of all the things that I do while I'm doing it, and I'm throwing it on the ground. I'm throwing that pasta against the wall, seeing if it's al dente, if it's gonna stick or if it's gonna fall. And I'll tell you what, dude, it fucking burns. It burns! Just because I wonder to myself, I'm like, why can I not just have a moment of unconsciousness at all? God damn it, can I just have a fucking moment to not think about anything? Can I just, please turn me off, please? No, dude, I was just in the middle of like robotically, autonomously performing just some stuff, as me, as I, as whatever I was just in the recesses of my mind, just in a beanbag chair, just, maxing, relaxing in that hoe. And then somebody rang the doorbell or whatever. I had to go respond to something. And so there's been sort of that kind of thing going on. Anything else? Oh, dude, I'm so grateful right now, dude. I'm on the verge of like unbearable compassion right now. I'm so happy. I got a glimpse into like a life that I was living before, and first of all, it was like, soul food for me. It was sustenance for me, in the kind of way that, it was interesting and whatever. It was kind of like the third Hokage's like demon soul pull kind of thing, where he's eating on the soul of whoever he grabs in that moment, that kind of thing or whatever. And I got to just see, oh my God, I got to see a whole chapter of my life. I remember how it felt. I remember the overwhelming and all-pervading sort of despair that my life had been, that I really felt my life to be in that moment of things. And then I also got to see just like how, quirky and interesting and funny, that sort of person was, in my life at that time, or however you describe, what have you. And And I'm all, just the sort of gratitude that it's like, oh my God, thank God the world changes. Thank God things change. Thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. This too shall pass. This too shall change. Okay. And then sort of last but not least is the kind of it's the kind of idea that it talks about freedom. It points the finger at freedom. Like, what is freedom? When I was younger, I used to think that freedom was, just kind of the ability to do whatever you wanted. You're restricted from doing the things that you want. You want freedom. And usually, with that idea, it comes with the context of doing things that are not generally good for you, or going against the status quo, going against authority, power figures, things that hold you back in this life, or that, sort of like encapsulate you and restrict you in some manner. Freedom nowadays, to me, is like this sort of, it's like a spiritual thing, or I'm liking, less and less I'm liking that term, spiritual. Now more and more nowadays, it's like the freedom is noticing it's noticing the boundaries of the relationships I'm already currently in. It's noticing the sort of, it's like a highlighting of the dynamics that are currently, sort of like the underlying Tao, the underlying guidance system to how our relationships are. What is the dance that each of us are doing and why? Freedom to me is shifting the sort of awareness and putting the magnifying glass over that, just to ask the question, like, okay, it appears like we're both operating, we're operating like this. I'm certainly operating like this, in this restricted kind of way. I want out in some kind of way. So what can I do to change my circumstances? And, moreover on that, what is it that I do want? And so I think to myself, I want something that's good. I want something that's free. I want something that's, not too many restrictions, restrictions in moderation. Something that is playful, something that is sweet and savory and honest and fun and lighthearted. And free of useless ambient anxiety. You don't want someone who's too uptight on you. You don't want someone who is too uptight on you. And so I'm out here bringing awareness to my relationships, and I'm changing them. I'm changing them for the better, to make the present moment a good one, a fun one, and one that is not filled with delusion, right? You can, just because there's you want fun, you want something you want to be a part of, doesn't mean that you get rid of the things you're responsible for. It doesn't mean that you all of a sudden have nothing to be responsible for, or that you're somehow negating these things or putting them to the side. But it's that these things don't get in the way, right? The responsibility doesn't have to be looked at from the kind of thing that it's like, ugh, fuck. But it's merely more of a plate. It's the sort of thing that carries, whatever the sort of thing is, from room to room, from place to place. It's the vessel. Okay. And so, you know what? I'm gonna skedaddle. I'm gonna get out of here for the time being. I am thinking about money. I'm thinking about being responsible with money. I'm thinking, hell yeah, dude, what am I, 10 days fucking vape-free, nicotine-free, and not even, like, fiending for it, not craving for it, not popping into Austin's room to go steal his fucking empties? Not looking around on the ground for a cigarette butt. You know, I'm not looking for my next fucking rip, my hit. I'm proud of you, Dawson. Pats on the back for that one. Okay. I'm thinking about going and getting some kind of chocolate cake. I'm thinking about going and getting some kind of cinnamon roll. Because I have a sweets reimbursement deal at the ready. You know, someone came through with a little bit of a cotton candy happy birthday, you know, gelato, sweet treat. And I absolutely annihilated that thing when I saw it in the freezer in the middle of the night. And so I'm owing somebody some kind of sweet treat in the world. You know, I want them to pop open the fridge. I want them to see this sweet treat, and I want them to say, hell yeah, dude, it's been a minute since I've had a triple chocolate moist cake. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Please and thank you. And I'm gonna throw a note on there. I'm gonna throw a note on the top of that shit and say it's gonna have their name on it. So they don't have to worry. They don't have to think to themselves, hey, can I have this or not? They're just going to know. They're going to have full access right there. They're going to have full consent to that goddamn triple chocolate cake. And hopefully they enjoy it. Hopefully they love it. And, you know, and blessings, bro. Emi futo. Wabe sabe. I love you. I'm going to get the hell out of here now. Love you very much. God bless you. Deuces.